What if I told you that the richest man aboard the Titanic wasn't just a wealthy tycoon, but the heir to America's first great fortune? John Jacob Astor IV, great-grandson of the original John Jacob Astor, carried a family name tied to real estate, luxury hotels, and unimaginable wealth. On that fateful night in April 1912, he made a choice that would seal his legacy forever. You heard that right. The richest passenger on the Titanic went down with the ship after ensuring his young wife's survival. Today, on 1,000-Year Personalities, we uncover the life of John Jacob Astor IV, an inventor, a soldier, a real estate mogul, and the man whose name would forever be linked with both luxury and tragedy. To understand John Jacob Astor IV, we have to step back a century earlier. His great-grandfather, John Jacob Astor I, arrived in America as a poor German immigrant in 1784. Through fur trading and real estate, he became America's first multi-millionaire. His descendants became the royalty of New York high society. Born in 1864, John Jacob Astor IV grew up in this world of privilege. His family name was everywhere: Astor Place, the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and the Astor Library. By the late 19th century, the Astors weren't just rich, they defined American aristocracy. Astor wasn't content to just sit on his inheritance. Educated at Harvard, he invested in real estate and hotels. He wrote a science fiction novel, tinkered with inventions like bicycle brakes and air turbines, and even served briefly during the Spanish-American War. By the early 1900s, his fortune was estimated at $87 million, equivalent to billions today. He was charming, ambitious, and one of the most recognizable figures in New York society. But with wealth came scandal. In 1891, Astor married Ava Lowell Willing, a Philadelphia socialite. The couple had 2 children but eventually grew apart. Their divorce in 1909 shocked polite society. It was one of the most publicized breakups of the era. Soon after, Astor fell in love again. This time with Madeline Force, a young woman nearly 30 years his junior. Their marriage in 1911 set tongues wagging. At just 18, Madeline was beautiful, elegant, and suddenly one of the richest women in America. The press was relentless, criticizing the age gap and the speed of the romance. To escape the gossip, the couple decided to travel abroad for an extended honeymoon across Europe and Egypt. By the spring of 1912, Madeline was pregnant, and the couple decided to return home to America. Their chosen vessel? The grandest ship ever built, the Titanic. On April 10, 1912, the Astors boarded the Titanic at Cherbourg, France. They occupied one of the most luxurious suites on the ship, complete with a private promenade, 4 rooms, and their own servants. It was the epitome of elegance. Other first-class passengers whispered about the Astors, the scandal, and the fortune behind them. But for John and Madeline, it was a chance to relax and prepare for their new life as parents. No one aboard could have imagined that within days, the world's most luxurious ship would become the stage for one of history's greatest tragedies. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic struck an iceberg. Panic spread as lifeboats were lowered. Women and children were given priority, and John Jacob Astor was determined to protect his young pregnant wife. Eyewitnesses recalled that Astor remained calm and collected. He escorted Madeline to Lifeboat 4 and gently helped her aboard. Concerned for her condition, he asked if he could accompany her, explaining to officers that she was pregnant. The request was denied. With quiet dignity, Astor stepped back. He reportedly gave his life jacket to another passenger and reassured his wife that he would follow on the next boat. That moment was the last time Madeline saw him alive. As chaos engulfed the decks, Astor was seen helping others. One survivor remembered him standing by the gymnasium, speaking calmly with another passenger as the ship listed further into the sea. When the Titanic broke apart in the early hours of April 15, 1912, John Jacob Astor disappeared beneath the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Days later, his body was recovered. In his pocket were a gold watch, a diamond ring, and $2,440 in cash. Even in death, the symbols of his wealth remained. Madeline survived the sinking. Just months later, she gave birth to John Jacob Astor VI, forever nicknamed the Titanic baby. She inherited a substantial portion of Astor's fortune, but his estate, worth the modern equivalent of billions, was mostly left to his children from his first marriage. Astor's death sent shockwaves through the world. He wasn't just another wealthy passenger. He symbolized the end of an era. His calm sacrifice, his devotion to his wife, and the sheer magnitude of his loss made him one of the most famous figures tied to the Titanic disaster. From real estate mogul to Titanic's richest passenger, John Jacob Astor IV lived a life of immense privilege and ended it with a legacy of sacrifice. His name remains etched in history, not just as a symbol of wealth, but as a reminder of human courage in the face of tragedy. This has been 1000 Personalities. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life and legacy of John Jacob Astor IV, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below on which historical figure you'd like us to cover next. And remember, sometimes the greatest measure of a person is not how they lived, but how they chose to face the end.